Hey, Lark and Rose here. I'm going to make this quick. I'm not bothering to set up an actual camera. I'm just babbling this out as fast as I can. Yay, Elon Musk is buying Twitter. Yes, I mean yay. It's not because Elon Musk is a voluntarist. He's not, like the vast majority of people. He's a statist. He has a bunch of stupid ideas. He makes a bunch of stupid assumptions. He has an entirely warped paradigm because, like most people, he believes in the right of a ruling class to control everybody else because he was indoctrinated into that. He's not a savior. He's not going to save the world. He's going to do, well, he says he's going to do one thing, which is let people say what they want on Twitter. That's all I care about as far as Elon Musk. He can believe dumb things and advocate dumb things, and everybody should have a chip in their head and whatever else. But the one way in which his buying Twitter affects me and most of you is that now we can say stuff that we couldn't before. Well, if he follows through on what he says, which remains to be seen, that's a good thing. You don't have to like him. You don't have to think he should be emperor. He shouldn't. Nobody should be emperor. But if I had a neighbor that kept sicking his psychotic dogs on me every time I show up at my house, and somebody else moved in who doesn't do that to me, I don't particularly care if we see eye to eye on everything else. Yay, the one truly obnoxious thing that particular person was doing isn't going to happen anymore because now a different person is in that place. Doesn't mean I agree with him on anything else. It just means I'm glad that there's at least a chance that on one of the big social media platforms, you'll be able to say what you think. Now, we'll see if he actually follows through, and you can see the bootlickers just completely flipping out at the mere possibility. If he follows through on that, Twitter's going to become huge, and the bootlickers like YouTube and the rest of them are going to fade and wither and fall apart because they've been such thought crime Nazis that people are going to say, why would I stay over here when I can't hear anything different? I can't say anything different. It's like totally Orwellian. Why don't I just go over there to this platform that's already huge and say what I think over there? If they can do that, that is a serious kick in the pants to the censorship of the other platforms. When they're all owned by the same oligarchs and they all in lockstep silence anything that goes against the regime's opinion, it's not all the way a monopoly, but it almost functions as one. If one of them steps out of line, like Twitter, and says, we're going to let people say things that we don't agree with and don't even like, then that censorship agenda falls apart. And the ones that censor are going to start falling apart, and the ones that don't are going to get all the people going to them. And I think that's a good thing. Now, eventually, I think people should go to Float, which was founded and built by people I know for the purpose of having uncensored discussion. Down the road, I way more trust Float to actually have continuing free speech than Twitter, even with Elon Musk there, because whether he can be bribed or threatened or whatever else happens, in the long run, he's still a statist. But I think this is a very good thing, and I don't mind being excited about the fact that, yay, there might be a chance that on one of these social media platforms, one of the huge ones, people are allowed to say things again that they were silenced and demonized and attacked for saying before. Well, they'll still be demonized elsewhere. That is a huge improvement. The fact that Elon Musk is a statist in a zillion other ways, I don't really care. He was going to be a statist anyway. He still doesn't control anything else relevant to me. So the one thing he controls relevant, if he buys Twitter and follows through on his promise, is that now there will be, hopefully, less censorship on a particular platform. I think that's a really good thing, not just for Twitter, but for the whole discussion. Because if the censorship wall starts getting cracks in it, and people can pick and choose and say, I want to go where I can actually hear different opinions and not immediately get banned, then the whole censorship agenda falls apart. Because then there's an incentive for the other ones to say, okay, maybe we'll let you say stuff over here. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Yeehaw. And no, that doesn't mean I think Elon Musk is our savior and he's right about everything. He's not savior of anything and he's wrong about an incredible number of things. As most people are, because most people are indoctrinated in statism. Nonetheless, it will be fun to see if he actually follows through. And if you think it doesn't really matter, Ask yourself, why do you think the entire mainstream media is absolutely pissing itself at the suggestion that on Twitter, you'll be able to say what you think? Literally, they're complaining about, oh, it's the end of the world. People are going to be uncensored there. And of course, they characterize it as, there's going to be misinformation. No, you mean there's not going to be the misinformation that you fascist bootlickers want. There'll be misinformation all over the place. There is in any platform where there's free speech. There's lots of misinformation in all directions in every discussion, and there needs to be. Because to have a debate, one side has to be wrong. Well, it's kind of possible to have two views that blah, blah, blah. But most of the time, at least one side of every debate is wrong. Often both sides are wrong. The idea that you're only allowed to say things are right literally rules out all disagreement, all discussion, all debate, and all intellectual progress. So good for you, Elon Musk. You're not my savior. You're a statist. You believe a bunch of goofy things. But if you do the one thing that you said you would with Twitter and let people say what they think, that is very good for humanity, in spite of all the other weird things I would disagree with him on. So yeehaw.